So welcome back to Be More Super. I'm Brian, your host, and we're joined by an awesome guest. Not only has he been in the Belko Experiment, which is one of my favourite films, Brightburn, Guardians of the Galaxy, literally all of them, and then now Superman. It's a wonderful Stephen Blackehart. Stephen, welcome to the show, sir.
Well, thank you very much. What a lovely introduction. Nice to meet you.
And I've got to say, we're going to talk about it in a second, but James Gunn must have you on speed dial, literally, which is awesome to see because you're great in this film. But I just wanted to cover something off at the beginning because I was reading your biography, like a bit about you, and it was quite pleasant to find out that you trained at Lambda here in London.
Yes, I did.
What was it about London and Lambda that you couldn't get anywhere else, especially in the States?
Well, early on, when I started training to be an actor, I studied with a gentleman named Paul Massey, who was he was originally from Canada, but his career mostly happened in England. He was a BAFTA-winning actor for Orders to Kill and Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, and had spent a lot of time with the RSC and a lot of the English theater companies and films. And he had a big influence on me. Plus my, growing up watching movies, I just saw something in the way something that the English actors had that a lot of the sort of methody actors on this side of the pond didn't. And I thought, that's the future of acting. What they're doing now is the future of acting. And if I want to be ahead of the curve, I should go and study from the source. And I absolutely adored my time at Lambda. It's one of the greatest experiences of my life.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because what I've learned over the years of interviewing, many actors is that in the US, they don't tend to, like in the UK, we literally leave school, we go on to university, we do maybe performing arts, and then we go into acting school. But in America, especially, they normally go to like a college or a university to do like, I don't know, biomedicine or engineering, and then they go into acting. It's just a really odd combination. So it's really refreshing to hear that you came over here to learn your acting chops, as they say. And it's obviously proved well because you've done very well for yourself. Your IMDb is literally off the charts. So I wanted to ask, with James Gunn and being on so many awesome projects, what's the secret sauce of your relationship, your collaboration? What is it about working with him?
Well, I met him 30 years ago. We were just posting yesterday that right around this time of July, this part of July, 30 years ago, we were filming Tromeo and Juliet, which is the first time I met James, the first project he ever wrote right out of his university, maybe my third. And I was just taken by the way he writes, the kind of irreverence, but also deep knowledge and love of everything that he's writing about. And he also uses these archetypes that you only really see anymore in like Korean films, where there are certain characters who fulfill different roles, and you see it in Shakespeare, you see it in like the fool characters, and you see it in the mechanicals and things like that. He has a deep understanding of what different characters do to propel a story, and we're on the same page. We always, 99% of our thousands and thousands of films that we love are the same, and the reasons why are often the same. And we used to write things together back in the old days, and I just kind of understand where he's coming from as a writer, and it's for me, it's joyous. There's a lot of acting jobs that are just a job, but to work with him, it's joyous.
I mean, he is just an incredible writer and director, and I've loved his work from the start. I think he's a great guy, and a lot of sort of controversy came about when Superman got announced, and he said that he wanted to do Superman, and I've been behind James Gunn 100%. I knew it was going to be an amazing ride from the start, because everything he does is so great with ensemble casts. You know, he just gets the best out of everyone. And obviously, you've worked with him, you know, alongside him in Guardians of the Galaxy, quite a few of them. I've got a picture here that I'm going to bring up. Look at that lovely face there. Look at that. It's like my wife in the morning. You know, she won't be watching
Lucky
this.
you.
It's fine. Yeah, look at me. And then we've got you again in volume 3, looking quite dapper there. But
thank you.
Superman, this is what we're going to talk about, because I watched it. When was it? I went to a red carpet event with a Q&A with the cast, and then I went to the media screening, and it blew my socks off. It really, really did. And your character honestly stands out. Stands out
Thank
massively.
you.
And I've got a picture here. I'm going to bring it up. Just here. There you are, Sydney Happersen. So how did you get this role? How did this role come about for you? Did you have to audition? Tell us everything.
Well, I didn't have to audition. 30 years, you know, work experience for James. You know, he knows my work inside and out. Not just with him, but he's seen most of the things that I've done. It came about because we needed a foil for Lex Luthor at Luthor Corp. And James had this deep knowledge of the comics. And I think he may have even mentioned before, years ago, you know, when I had these very similar glasses, that he's like, you know, you remind me of a comics character. And Sydney was, you know, when James first met me also back in the Tromeo days, that I still, despite Lambda and despite acting training, my normal speaking voice, I had a sort of a thick New York accent. And I think it kind of lended it all lended itself toward his kind of like seeing me in that kind of a role. And so he just said, I have this thing, if you're interested in doing it. I said, you know, like you're going to say no.
Yeah, let me think about it. Yes, you know, did it go a bit like that? I mean, this character is a comic book character. So taking that character from page to screen, how difficult was that, and how did you develop that character? Because all we get to see is what's on the page and the words that he says. So how did you bring that character to life so well?
Well, I did. I'm an over preparer. I use a little bit of, you know, in London, among the things I learned was, you know, Laban notation, which is you know, characterizing these things like a dancer would. Is it fast or slow? Is it light or heavy? Is it straight or curvy? Michael Chekhov technique, which is, you know, to do with the kind of outer forms. I also studied I study anyway a lot of physicists, because I'm interested in things like, you know, astronomy and quantum mechanics, things like that. And there's so many incredible characters when you talk to the physicists. There's one who Leonard Susskind, who's one of the fathers of string theory, who I was always taken by, because he was kind of a big dude, you know, like he looked like he worked out. He's older now, but he looked like he worked out, and he had a thick Bronx accent. And he's telling you about, you know, strings and, you know, quantum fluctuations and things like that. And I was like, this is one of the smartest men on the planet, one of the smartest men walking around. But if he was just at the store ordering a bagel or something like that, you would never guess it. And so I looked at people like him, and there's a Meisner teacher, and there's an old bodybuilder from the Schwarzenegger days named Mike Menser, who I took a lot of little pieces from this and that, and tried to put them all together. And I brought it to Atlanta when they're getting ready to shoot my bits of Superman, and I said, I have some ideas, and I'd like to run them by you. And I kind of told him what I just told you, and he said, that sounds interesting. You can try it. And the first day I did a little bit of it, and he was like, take that and turn it up to 11. He's like, I love it. So that's how Sydney came about.
And the look is so great compared to the picture in the comics. So when you
Oh,
saw yourself for the first time as this character, what were your first thoughts?
my first thought was, that's him. That's Sydney. That's the version that I imagine. This really, he's just a walking problem. Nobody in his life is going to tell him, how he might look better, do his hair better, approach anything better. I thought, this is the guy. That's exactly who I want him to be.
And your time on this film, I mean, you've been on some big sets, working with James. And Superman is, you're in Atlanta, you're in quite a small sort of group of actors. What was it like being on that stage? Because I was shocked to find out that actually that was on a stage and, looking out the windows, it's not actually a real place because it's done so well. It's shocking. I honestly thought it was outside. Yeah, amazing. So what was it like first day on set, being on that set and being around Nicholas Hoult and the rest of the lackeys, as they're being called?
Oh, well, it's amazing when you are working on something that's that big of a budget, because you're used to, I've done so many films where, they have the budget of a ham sandwich and you're kind of stringing things together and trying to make something look like an office or shooting in somebody's actual office. This, you're going into this warehouse that could house a B-52 bomber, and the office set is built way up. It's like probably 2 or 3 stories up to give you that sense of height. And then they've built this amazing, the comms hub, as they call it. And then there's these crazy, it's a photograph. It's really like a big photograph that's been photoshopped and pieced together from other cities and things like that to give this look of this sort of Edward Hopper version of Metropolis. And this beautiful set. And then meeting Nick, who is, I think he's one of the top actors walking around on the planet right now. And the sweetest human being you've probably ever met. And I knew several of the other actors in the Luther Corp company because we've crossed paths many times. But then there's a lot of local Atlanta actors who I hadn't met. And we got rolling. And to me, it was a lot like you're working for most of it, like on an Aaron Sorkin project. Like you were doing the West Wing. There's a lot more footage that got compressed into this what's in the movie, but it was very kind of zippy, kind of a lot of smart people batting around ideas. Trying to the best idea wins thing. Although Lex is supposed to be one of the smartest men on the planet, so you're going to defer to him. But it was an amazing experience to me, and it's like I say, it was just like being in this drama or a spy thriller or something like that, or certainly like the West Wing. And then toward the end of that shooting in that set, Superman shows up and Mr. Terrific. And you're like, oh yeah, we're doing a Superman movie. And we all were starstruck by, David Cornsweet in the Superman suit and Eddie Gathegi. And it was just like, it kind of shook you out of the previous reality you were in. It's amazing. It's amazing. I will remember that time the rest of my life.
I mean, there are some great scenes. I mean, for anyone left in the world that hasn't seen it, there's some amazing scenes and some really heartfelt scenes in that that set that you're in, and especially for Nicholas Hoult. I mean, the performance he gives. I mean, I always say that it's, and I said this to Bonnie, your co-star. I said sometimes the best acting is not with words. It's with facial expressions. It's because I often watch films and then I'm not looking at the main person up front. I'm looking at the people behind. I'm looking at how they're reacting. And sometimes they can steal the show because you were sort of like, drawn into them more than you are the main actor. But Nicholas Hoult did an amazing job. And he clearly showed the true meaning of Lex and the anger and the jealousy, and he just did a wonderful job. And I've got a picture of you with some of your co-stars there, with Bonnie as well, who I spoke to a couple of days ago. How long did you keep that moustache for, like that? Because my wife is obsessed with moustaches. She loves them. She literally, yeah, she was actually going to change her middle name. She hasn't got one, by default to Mustachio. For a laugh. Why not? And it's her birthday tomorrow, so I might treat her. But yeah, I mean,
I kept it for a little while after production. James actually told me, as we were getting toward the end of my filming, he's like, I think you might get more parts with the mustache. So I've been trying it's been about a year now. I've been trying to see how that goes, but it's hard to judge. The industry is kind of in a weird place right now.
I know,
but
it's difficult. You can't really shave it off and stick it back on again, unless you just take it off and put it on one of those things that you can stick on, just in case for the audition.
Yeah, that would be nice.
You never know.
I should do that. I should have a standby set of mustaches for each role.
Different types of role, just put it on. I mean, when you talk about budget, the best way to gauge a budget is craft services. Was craft services good on this compared to Guardians of the Galaxy?
Oh, they take such good care of us. The food was really fantastic on the set, and the crafty was, I would say, although I was trying to not eat everything and gain weight, the crafty was impeccable. They have all the best candies, especially, and the best coffee, which is what I care about when I'm working.
And that's a good idea. Keep you caffeinated and high with sugar. Keeps you going for them long shoots. Did you keep anything from set? Did you steal anything? Did you borrow anything?
I might have a Luther Corp coffee cup somewhere. That's about the only thing I could get away with, but I was lucky enough to get that.
Well, of course, they don't want to get rid of everything because they want it for the sequel when that gets written. I mean, with your career, you've done so many different types of films. So how do you approach a superhero film differently as an actor than, say, an indie film or a horror film?
Well, I think that for me, the thing that's worked is, when it's worked, has been to approach them, most of them, the same. I will say you have to know that the hardest thing for me to figure out, and this is true for an audition as well as for a film, is the tone. In Superman, it's a sort of alternate, fantastical reality. The world isn't exactly the world that we live in here. And the characters are a little bit heightened. So it's important to know that it's not that, if you're worried about going over the top is much higher than it would be in something else if you were doing, procedural or Grey's Anatomy or something like that. But that in mind, the emotional truth, the reality, the backstory, that all has to be the same, whether you're working on, a $50,000 independent or a $225 million blockbuster. It has to be, truthful and honest. You have to react as a human being would react. Your thoughts, your feelings, all of that, all the homework has to be the same.
I mean, with this film being so big and you being on set, I mean, I presume you've watched the film now in its entirety. So
I have,
what was
just
it like?
Premiere,
Yeah, which looks amazing. Which it just looks like a who's who, and I want to speak about that in a moment. But what being on set and actually filming it, and now watching the whole thing, what were your feelings when you watched it? And I'm saying feelings because this film isn't just a film. It's not let's just go eat some popcorn. This film, I think, teaches a lot of things in the way of humanity and kindness and everything in between. So what did it make you feel on a personal level watching this film?
I felt like it was magical. That was the thing when I was sitting in the theater. I forgot that all of these people were around me at the premiere. I forgot that some of the most famous and important people in Hollywood are everywhere around me, that my friends are around me. I I forgot everything, and I was just sort of swept away in this magic and the kindness of the movie and the hope of the movie. But just and this it's like a box of candy, or like opening a box of toys from all different genres and playing with them as a kid. It was just sort of like anything is possible. I just felt like anything is possible watching this movie, and it was amazing to me that I could, because it's hard for me to watch something I'm in and be objective, because I just sort of am taken out of it by seeing myself on the screen. But I was completely transported. I was completely in a different place. I just went where the movie took me. And I haven't felt that in years. It's amazing to me.
That's really nice to hear. And when you say that it's hard to watch something you're in, speaking to you right now, I think you're quite far from the character of Sydney being yourself. So I suppose
Hopefully.
that helps as well. I mean, all these wonderful scenes and these moments on set. Have you got one moment that really made the hairs on the back of your neck go up in the way of you in your pieces in this film?
Well, I will say that when we were there, there's a brief scene. I think it's at night at Luther Corp when they're trying to figure out some things to do with the portals, and it might open a rift and it might destroy the world. But Lex has a possible workaround that I think is too dangerous to attempt. And it's a scene between Gabby DeFaria and Nick and myself. And it was just like, keep getting it bigger. The stakes, keep raising the stakes higher, the intensity higher. And it every hair on my body was standing up. Every instinct of mine was going, this might be too far. This might be too much. And we did it like 12 different ways. And at the end, James was really happy with it. And I turned to Nick Holt and I said, "You've heard about less is more. I mean, sometimes more is more." I felt like I was doing Cat on a Hot Tin Roof on Broadway or something like that. It was fireworks when we were doing it, and it was exhausting, but it was amazing. One of the best experiences of my life.
And it's a great scene. It really is. Do you ever get nervous, being on set and moments like that is going to be quite a big part of the film? I mean, do you get nervous, and how do you deal with those nerves?
I'm nervous 24 hours a day. I'm sort of a naturally anxious person. My biggest nerves, though, are leading up to the start of filming. My biggest nerves are, hoping and wishing that I'm up to the challenge of anything, even the smallest role of saying you want fries with that and something. But yeah, my nerves were standing on end from beginning to the end. But there's a couple of ways to approach it. Somebody told me once, it's like being on a roller coaster. He said some people get on a roller coaster and they're like hanging on, like, oh, and then other people throw their hands up in the air and they, are exhilarated by it the way you would, bungee jumpers and things like that. And I chose to like throw my hands up in the air and say, this is where we're going. This is how it's going to go. And just let it take me. And let Sydney take the wheel. And that dealing with the nerves was just sort of to acknowledge them and say, I know why you're lit up right now. I know why you're trying to protect me, and just say, thank you. I hear you. And I'm going this way anyway. For at least this time, it really worked. It helped me a lot. And by the time we were about halfway through the filming, I felt, I know the pocket of this guy, and I think that I understand it, and I felt so much more comfortable. And James is a magician at making you feel comfortable doing bizarre and absurd things. It's an amazing experience.
James comes across like literally he's probably like a big kid on set. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot of energy and everything like that. Because at the Q&A I was about 10 foot away from him, and I'm just like sort of like in awe, just looking at him, thinking this is the guy that's brought so many things to the screen that has just been magical. But the passion that he's talking about these things in is just amazing.
Yeah.
Literally, he could sell anything, that man. He really could.
Good, yeah.
He should work for Apple. And it's just incredible to see. And then we talk about David Corenswet as Superman. And a lot of people on the internet right now are being quite mean. I did a review. I was saying to Bonnie, I did a review the night that I saw the media screening. I think it was on the 8th of July. And it's had over 1 million views already. And I've had direct messages. I've had indirect messages of hate, horrible things. And I'm just like, well, at least they're doing it to me and not someone else. I'm not bothered. Let them have their opinion. But what's your view on stuff like that, in the way that you bring something out as an actor, as a performer, and then you get a lot of people that just don't like it? I mean, don't get me wrong, the majority of people, the sales talk for themselves, half a billion. Right. Do you know what I mean? I mean, what's your view on that, on fans just being, tools, as we call it?
Well, I think that we right now live in a time that happens now and then in the history of the world, where there's a certain part of society that is just enjoying being cruel and mean. I think that, there's certain parts of the manosphere that seem to have encouraged that you're not masculine unless you're cruel. But I think that really it's not that many people. It's just the people who are doing it are very vocal and very pointed, and they seem to be like attack dogs. I think it's a small percentage of people. And I think if you're doing anything that means anything in the world, you're going to have people who throw stones. Yeah. And if you're getting those stones, it probably means that you're up to something that's important.
Well, that's exactly what my wife said. She said, you know what? You've obviously made it if you're getting hundreds and thousands of messages telling you that to do horrible things. So, and I'm like, well, you know what I mean? So good for them.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have said about obviously Man of Steel and everything like that. I've said that this film is completely different. I think this is the future of what's to come in the way of Superman and the rest of the DC Justice Gang, should I say. And I just can't wait. I love it. I mean, my dad introduced me to Superman when I was a little child. Unfortunately, he's not with us anymore. And when I watched the film, I cried a couple of times, especially the end scene, which I don't want to, spoil it for anyone, but there's a certain video in there. And I know he would have loved it. But the great thing is, my daughters, I've got two daughters, Stephen, one called Lois and one called Cara, after Supergirl.
Really?
So I can't wait to take them to see a Superman film that is family friendly. And I just cannot wait to introduce them to what I love the most and what they're named after. And I've got to say, Lois is definitely like Lois in this film. Headstrong. She's so I can't wait. I cannot wait.
I think Rachel is the most Lois there's ever Loist.
Even in the Q&A, like literally the way she held herself and the way she came across. And I love how their relationship on screen is so genuine and so real. Even the argument they have seems like a real world argument. It's not a comic book over the top. But then I just love this film. Honestly, I really, 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 really do. So with you now, are you putting up your feet or are you working? Because I know that you're working on I've got a poster here. I don't know if you can tell us a bit about it or anything about it. Stiletto. And this looks, from the description, this sounds like a great movie. It sounds really, really good. So how far from Superman is this film?
it's the other end of the universe from Superman. This is
Excellent.
a throwback to sort of an '80s slasher movie, in which I play the slasher who's got a fetish for ladies who entertain by dancing, you might say, for strippers, and his eyes locked on a particular one who he regards as the apple of his eye.
Wow.
It's a other end of the spectrum budget wise, but it's I'm hearing good things about uh, the release hopefully coming up. It's I had so much fun working on it. They're good people. I think that's the key to things is work with good people, and nice things hopefully will happen.
Well, do you know what? I'm going to try and get my hands on a screener of it because nothing sounds better to me than 80s, because I love those movies. I love the
Oh, me too.
nostalgia. We've actually got near me where I live an 80s video shop. So a
Oh,
man has
really?
literally opened up a museum. It's like, I would call it a museum, and you walk in and it feels like going to an 80s video shop back in the 80s.
Uh,
And then what he's got a room that's made up. He's made it to look like a kid's 80s bedroom. So on the wall you've
really?
got posters from the 80s. You've got a Back to the Future board there. You've got it's just amazing. The smell as well
Oh,
is just incredible. So I cannot
I
wait to
would go
check.
there.
I know it's brilliant. Honestly, I just want to buy everything, but you can't because it's a museum. And I'm looking
Oh
at
yeah.
videos of like 80s horror and stuff like that, and I'm like, oh. But no, I go there I go every couple of weeks to say hello because they're lovely guys that run it. But Stephen, it's been an absolute
We
pleasure
love
to
it.
have you on, and
Oh, thank you.
I
For me
cannot
too.
wait. I cannot wait for people to see this film if they haven't seen it already. And you, my
Oh,
friend, are just amazing in this film. I cannot
thank
wait for my
you.
kids to see you and experience what I have. And I look forward to talking to you in the future for future projects. But
Well,
thank you
thank you,
so much
Brian.
for
I
coming
look
to the
forward to
show.
it too. I can't wait for your daughters to see it,
I know.
especially given their names. I think they're going to love it. I mean, I hope they do, but I think they will.
I think they do. And do you know what's even more sad, Stephen? We've got a cat
What's
called Clark. Which can I
that?
say, Lois, my daughter, named it wasn't me. So she
Lois has
named the
to have
cat
her Clark.
exactly, and she has. It's her favorite cat. But Stephen, look after yourself. Don't go away. I'll say goodbye properly in a second. But everyone
All
watching,
right.
thank you so much. Hit subscribe and all that jazz. Look after